Hello, and welcome back to another On Point review. I'm John Pointer, and I'm once again joined by my co-host Geralda.
Hey guys, Geralda here coming at you.
And we're talking about the movie we just went to see, The Way Back,
Oh
starring
yeah,
Ben
yeah.
Affleck. I gotta say, I really didn't like this movie. I really wanted to like it. Like basketball is something that's really important to me. My grandfather took me to my first basketball game just 2 days before he died, and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, it's okay. It was a long time ago. So I was ready to be excited about this basketball movie, but it was so melodramatic. Um, like I know that's what they were going for, but I felt like they really took it really far.
Well, you got to remember though that this movie it is based on a true story. They don't say that in the trailer because there was a whole legal issue about it. You
Right,
could basically say it's almost based on a true story.
right.
There were certain things that were factually like, they were like accurate, and then there were just a few too many things. So I don't know exactly who the issue was between, but basically they weren't allowed to say that it's based on a true story. So for me, watching the movie, it actually did have an impact because I imagined, oh, this really happened.
Mhm. Uh, like even though they tried to make it seem like it wasn't a true story, there were a lot of like really obvious real people that kept showing up in the movie, and like they didn't call them by name, but you could tell
Yeah,
like this is like Barack Obama.
yeah, Barack Obama. Yeah.
This is what was the guy? It looks like King Hippo from Nintendo, but he wasn't. Um, uh,
Yeah, I can never remember that guy's
yeah.
name.
So
Samuel Jackson had a great cameo, though.
yeah, but like it wasn't like what I thought it wasn't Samuel L. Jackson. It was just a guy who looked exactly like him, but his voice was so
No,
different.
that yeah, they did a little bit of making him look younger, kind of
Oh,
CG,
okay, yeah,
but that was Samuel L. Jackson. You couldn't tell by his he had to say the mofo line.
yeah. So
Like we're gonna win, mofo. You know.
and by the way, this is spoiler free, but like one of the things that I think bothered me is how heavy they were on like there's a whole plot element about like how Ben Affleck's character his father abused him when he was young, but then they really tried to create as much adversity for him as possible throughout the entire movie to the point where
Yeah.
like he was being abused by every single person he meets, like, well, not like everyone, but like his wife assaults him, and like one of the professors like beats him
Yeah,
up,
you can.
and his team at one point gets so mad that they lost a game that they like tie him up and they hit him with socks, and like
You can tell that they're going a little bit for like Oscar season, appeal to the crowd that votes for these kind of movies. With it was a little too much at times. The tarring and feathering scene, I think,
yeah.
to me, I didn't feel like he was overcoming any adversity. I just kind of felt like it was painful to watch.
Yeah, like I know it wasn't like literally tar and feathering, but like like one of the like it was like the school mascot or whatever. And they took all the feathers and they threw them at him, and it was like very symbolic of tarring and feathering. Like that's what they wanted us to think of, and like they were like throwing chunks of asphalt at him, and that was like the tar, and they like
Yeah.
um and like King Hippo punched him in the face.
You know, despite that, I think they did a really good job with um, the exercise montage.
Hmm.
If you thought he was jacked in the Batman versus Superman, this movie he's ripped and he's giant. Like that scene where he literally did 2,000 push-ups
Hmm.
was. I know some people probably think it went on a little too long, but by the 10th minute, I was so into that scene.
Yeah, I thought it was weird how they kept like they tried to make it seem like they were speeding it up by like cutting away to him and to like reaction shots, like the dog looking up and was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And like things like that. But you'd think if they were doing that, they would actually like shorten the scene.
Yeah, and you can hear when it'll show him and he'll say like 125, and then it'll cut away to like four people reacting, and then it'll come back to him, and you've already seen reactions for about 10, 15
Yeah.
seconds, and then he says 126, and okay, so
Yeah.
this is the exact next push-up.
Yeah, like there's like one part where they skip like 20 numbers, but it's still like like out of 1,000, this is like the scene was way too long. Um,
When he squatted that car, though, that was just that did it for me.
I do think that maybe this was just the attempt to take it out as far away from it being mistaken for a true story or whatever, but it was a really bizarre. I wouldn't even say it's bad, just like unusual scene where like you see like before the big game and Ben Affleck's character is like he's in his room trying to build up his courage and his strength, and he's like looking at his DVDs, and he starts looking at Ben Affleck DVDs, and they really started to create this idea, like you can tell from how they directed, they were trying to create this idea that it was actually Ben Affleck playing himself in this movie, not the character. And it's like this, it's about like the adversity that he went through in Hollywood. It was a bizarre direction.
I didn't really want to get too much into this because we are like very spoiler conscious here. But the trailer is quite misleading.
Yeah.
The movie takes a few twists and turns that you just would not expect from, a basketball team trying to win the championship kind of a movie. Like, he gets into this time loop that happens where they throw the ball, and right before it's about to go in, the buzzer goes, and then it cuts, and you don't see whether the ball went in or not, and then he wakes up again, and then he spends the same day training and yelling at the players, because yelling really helps them work better.
Yeah, and it's, and also the part. I guess I did kind of like the scene, but it was kind of confusing where he like right before the game, he gets a call from like the president of the United States who tells him that he has to win the game or they're gonna lose the Cold War. And
that's, for me, that was a bit of a deal breaker scene. It took the story in a different direction.
Yeah, so it kind of made me confused about when this movie takes place, because like there's like all kinds of I don't know. I really can't tell when this movie was supposed to take place.
And like when they do the whole part where Kiefer Sutherland shows up and like they've got to go take down like the terrorist cell organization and that, and like he was Jack Bauer. That was no other character. That was Jack Bauer.
Yeah. So I didn't really like the movie. I don't know whether you enjoyed it more than I did.
I think I did a little bit more. Yeah, I don't think it's a fantastic movie. I know exactly what they were going for with it. Certain parts I think worked better than others. But I really appreciated the coupon that I got after the movie was done. For those who don't know, when you see The Way Back, you get a coupon for this toll route that helps you get back home. It was a really unique marketing,
It might just be in Canadian theaters only, but it is a really interesting sort of approach. So anyway, those were our thoughts, and we've given this movie a score of 3 points. And if you liked what you heard today, just leave a comment. And thank you so much once again for joining me, Geralda.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.